Imagine trusting someone who feels safe, someone who promises to help you. And then, in a single moment, everything changes forever. A teenage girl steps into a car believing she's with a friend. Cameras quietly record the moment. She has no idea it's the last normal choice she'll ever make. Today, on the Crime Chapter, we're telling the heartbreaking story of Bianca Devins, a case that proves how dangerous blind trust can be. Before we begin, if you enjoy deep crime stories like this, take a second to like this video and subscribe to the Crime Chapter. It really helps the channel grow, and you won't miss our next upload. Bianca was just 17 years old. She was creative, kind, and loved sharing her life online. Friends described her as gentle and artistic. Like many teens, she spent a lot of time on social media, connecting with people who shared her interests. She was still figuring out who she was, still dreaming about the future, still learning how the world works. That's where he comes in. Bianca had grown close to an older man named Brandon Andrew Clark. He presented himself as a caring friend, someone protective, someone helpful. He listened to her problems, offered rides, and acted like he genuinely cared about her safety. To Bianca, he wasn't a threat. He was someone she trusted. On the night everything changed, Bianca attended a small concert with friends. It was supposed to be a normal evening, music, laughter, hanging out. After the show, she accepted a ride with Clark. Security cameras later showed her calmly walking toward his car. No panic, no hesitation. Just a teenager who believed she was safe. That quiet walk is one of the most haunting parts of this case. Inside the car, an argument began. Reports later revealed Clark had developed obsessive feelings toward Bianca. When she made it clear she didn't feel the same way, something snapped. What happened next was brutal and horrifying. Bianca was murdered. But the tragedy didn't stop there. Instead of calling for help, Clark took photos of Bianca's body and posted them online. Graphic images spread rapidly across social media, shocking thousands of people and traumatizing Bianca's friends, family, and complete strangers who accidentally came across the posts. It was a moment that exposed the darkest side of the internet, how fast violence can travel, and how little control victims' families sometimes have. Police were alerted almost immediately after the images appeared. A massive search began. Officers tracked Clark to a wooded area where he was eventually taken into custody after attempting to harm himself. Bianca was gone, but her story was suddenly everywhere. For Bianca's family, their world collapsed overnight. One moment, they had a daughter, a sister, a bright young soul full of potential. The next, they were identifying her body and begging platforms to remove graphic content of her final moments. No parent should ever have to experience that. What makes this case especially painful is how ordinary it started. There was no dark alley, no masked attacker jumping out of nowhere. Just a helpful stranger who slowly earned trust. Someone who blended into everyday life. Someone who knew exactly how to appear safe. And that's the real lesson here. Most dangerous people don't look dangerous. They don't always act violent at first. They listen, they support, they insert themselves into your life until they feel familiar. That's how trust is built, and how it's sometimes exploited. As we tell this story on the Crime Chapter, it's important to pause and reflect. If something feels off about a person, listen to that feeling. If someone becomes possessive, controlling, or overly attached, take it seriously. And if you're young, always tell someone where you're going and who you're with. These small steps matter more than we realize. Drop a comment below and tell me what warning signs do you think people should never ignore. Your thoughts could help someone else stay safe. Bianca's case also raised serious questions about social media responsibility. Platforms struggled to remove the graphic images fast enough, and many users were exposed to content they never asked to see. It sparked debates about moderation, mental health, and how quickly violent material can spread in the digital age. But behind all the headlines and online arguments was a real girl who loved art, who laughed with friends, who had plans for tomorrow. That's who Bianca was. Not just a viral story. Not just a tragic headline. A human being. As the investigation moved forward, Clark was charged and later sentenced to life in prison. Justice, in a legal sense, was served. But nothing can truly repair the damage done. Bianca's family will carry this loss forever. And maybe that's why stories like this matter. They remind us to protect each other. To speak up when something feels wrong. To check in on friends who seem isolated. To teach young people about boundaries and online safety, and to never underestimate how quickly trust can turn into danger. If this story moved you, please share this video. You never know who might need to hear it. Because somewhere right now, another teenager might be talking to someone who feels helpful. Someone who feels safe. And awareness could make all the difference. We tell these stories on the Crime Chapter not for shock value, but to remember the victims and learn from the past. Bianca Devins deserved a future. She deserved protection, and she deserved to grow up. Her name was Bianca Devins, and long after the headlines faded, the impact of her story still lingers. What happened to her is not just a crime case, it's a warning about how quickly a familiar face can turn into a nightmare. In the days following Bianca's death, investigators pieced together every detail of her final hours. Messages, camera footage, witness statements, all of it painted a disturbing picture of obsession building quietly in the background. The person she trusted had been emotionally unstable for some time. Friends later shared that he often acted jealous and overly attached. But like many dangerous situations, it didn't explode all at once. It grew slowly, hidden behind smiles and friendly gestures. That's what makes this story so terrifying. There was no dramatic chase scene before it happened, no loud argument in public. Just a young girl getting into a car, believing she was with someone who cared about her. In that moment, that single decision changed everything. After the murder, the internet became part of the crime scene. The graphic photos spread faster than police could stop them. Platforms struggled to remove the content, and thousands of people were exposed to something they never wanted to see. Some viewers reported lasting emotional trauma. Bianca's family had to relive their worst nightmare over and over again as the images resurfaced across different sites. Imagine losing your child, and then finding out strangers around the world have seen her final moments. That pain is impossible to measure. Bianca's parents begged people to stop sharing the images. They asked everyone to remember their daughter as a living person, not as a tragic picture. Friends created memorial pages, sharing artwork and photos that showed who Bianca really was: a smiling teen, a creative soul, someone who loved deeply and trusted icily. But once something goes viral, it's hard to put it back. The legal process moved forward, and eventually the man responsible was sentenced to life in prison. The court called the crime brutal and senseless. But no sentence can bring Bianca back. No courtroom victory can restore what her family lost. And that's the part many true crime stories don't focus on enough. Behind every case file is a family that wakes up every day missing someone. Behind every headline is a bedroom that stays untouched. Behind every viral story is a chair at the dinner table that will never be filled again. This is why awareness matters. Not just awareness about crime, but awareness about emotional manipulation, online safety, and unhealthy attachment. Many young people today form connections through social media. Most of those connections are harmless. But sometimes, someone crosses the line from friendly to possessive, from caring to controlling. And when that happens, it's important to take it seriously. If someone pressures you, isolates you from friends, or makes you feel guilty for having your own life, those are red flags. If someone reacts badly to rejection, that's a red flag. If someone makes you feel unsafe but you can't explain why, listen to that feeling. Your instincts exist for a reason. And if you're watching this and you're a parent, talk to your kids. Ask who they're spending time with. Teach them that it's okay to say no, and that real friends respect boundaries. Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. What advice would you give teens today about staying safe? Your words might help someone who really needs to hear it. Bianca's case also sparked conversations about how social media companies handle violent content. It raised questions about responsibility, moderation, and how quickly harmful material spreads online. But while policies are debated and systems improve, one truth remains unchanged. Prevention starts with people. Checking in on friends, speaking up when something feels off, taking emotional warning signs seriously. Sometimes, it's those small actions that save lives. At the Crime Chapter, we tell these stories not just to inform, but to remind. To remember victims like Bianca, to honor their lives by learning from their tragedies, and to encourage conversations that might prevent future heartbreak. If this story affected you, please share this video. You never know who might be watching quietly, dealing with something similar, or feeling unsure about someone in their life. And if you haven't already, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the Crime Chapter. It helps us continue telling these important stories. Bianca Devins was more than a case. She was a daughter, a friend, a teenager with dreams. She deserved time. She deserved safety. She deserved a future. Instead, her life was taken by someone she trusted. Let that sink in. As this video comes to an end, I want you to remember one thing. Being kind doesn't mean ignoring danger. Trust should never come at the cost of your safety, and it's always okay to walk away from someone who makes you uncomfortable, even if they once seemed helpful. Thank you for staying with me through this story. Leave your thoughts in the comments, share this video with someone you care about, and I'll see you next time on the Crime Chapter.